A loud screeching test of the federal government's emergency alert system hit Americans' phones and TVs on Wednesday. Immediately, Mitch McConnell jolted upright and finished the press conference he began on July 27. Hello, Asheville. Thank you. I have to say, feeling is mutual. Everyone that works on this show decided they want to move here. So I have some producer roles to fill. Shoot your shot at crooked.com/careers. Let's get into it. What a week. Donald Trump, who has no legal obligation to attend his civil fraud trial in Manhattan, said this as he left the courthouse on Wednesday.
I'm here, stuck here, and I can't come back. I'd rather be right now in Iowa. I'd rather be in New Hampshire or South Carolina or Ohio or a lot of other places, but I'm stuck here because I have a corrupt attorney general that communicates with the DOJ in Washington to keep me nice and busy.
Complaining about being stuck somewhere where he 100% chose to be and could leave at any time? Who is this guy? Me at everything? The New York Times revealed this week that New Jersey Senator Bob Menendez's wife, who is also under indictment, hit and killed a man with her car in 2018. Yeah. This was shortly before a New Jersey businessman gave her a new Mercedes, allegedly in exchange for her husband's interference in an unrelated criminal prosecution. It is rare that you kill a man with your car and then get a nicer one as a gift. Editors note the car she hit the man with was also a Mercedes. This is like a bad person biathlon. Like, your car is so fucked up because of the human-shaped dent in it that you replace it with a car acquired through bribery. I ghosted someone 6 months ago. There are nights I can't fall asleep. How do these people fucking function? Rudy Giuliani is suing President Biden for defamation, saying that he lost clients and podcast listeners. Yeah. After Biden called him a Russian pawn during a presidential debate 3 years ago. That's not why we stopped listening, cried his former podcast listeners. Giuliani, of course, is nothing like a pawn. A pawn moves in a straight line. A loud screeching test of the federal government's emergency alert system hit Americans' phones and TVs on Wednesday. Immediately, Mitch McConnell jolted upright and finished the press conference he began on July 27. Your energy was weird. It's okay, that's part of the feedback mechanism. On Wednesday, the White House announced another $9 billion in student debt relief just days after student loan repayment went back into effect. That brings the total in student debt cancellation to $127 billion for nearly 3.6 million borrowers. You know when your grandma starts getting forgetful and sends 2 birthday checks a year? Maybe we love having Biden run again. And sure, it would have been more if Republicans in the Supreme Court hadn't stood in the way, but $127 billion is nothing to sneeze at. That's between 107,000 Mar-a-Lagos, depending on when you ask him. Said Biden, by freeing millions of Americans from the crushing burden of student debt, it means they can go and get their lives in order. I do want to take a moment, however, to hold space for the many Americans who do not have crushing student debt and also do not have their lives in order. We're here, we're wearing a bathing suit as underwear. Get used to it. Biden explained that the law allows the Secretary of Education to compromise, waive, or release loans under certain circumstances. What other obscure, cool laws have we been overlooking? Anything about the Transportation Secretary being allowed to do abortions on trains? Biden could have thrown up his hands and said, hey, I tried, the Supreme Court said no, but he didn't. He kept looking for workarounds to do the right thing. That's the kind of president we need. A guy who hears, I'm sorry, they don't let us put tortilla chips in the burritos, and says, then sell me a burrito and tortilla chips on the side, and what I do when I get to the table is between me and God. The fallout from the removal of Kevin McCarthy as House Speaker continues. Fall out, stop it. Lock him up, no. After a fair and just trial. When asked if there was anything he could have done differently with the 8 Republicans who voted to remove him, McCarthy said this.
Yeah, a lot of them I helped get elected, so I probably should have picked somebody else.
Over here, Dr. Frankenstein, my question is, any regrets? Let that one simmer. North Carolina's own Congressman Patrick McHenry, yeah, right, boom. All right. He doesn't listen. The only people that listen also hate him and also hate your hissing. As interim speaker, his first move was kicking Nancy Pelosi and Steny Hoyer out of their hideaway offices in the Capitol. These are given to outgoing leaders as a courtesy so they can quickly get to and from votes. Conservatives fighting with each other and taking it out on random old people? What is this, the inter-Republican debate over George W. Bush's plan to privatize Social Security? Holds for laughter. Let the laughs die down. Former House Speaker Newt Gingrich said this to the Republicans who voted to boot McCarthy.
From my position as a longtime Republican activist, they're traitors. All 8 of them should, in fact, be primaried. They should all be driven out of public life.
Yeah, you know what? That's a good point, Newt Gingrich. You are a longtime Republican activist. I wonder where... This is good. I wonder where these guys got this idea to behave in this manner. I wonder what kind of person might have inspired them to do this. In 1978, Newt Gingrich said this at a speech to college Republicans. This is real. I'm just going to read you something that Newt Gingrich said when this was his, I believe, his 3rd campaign and his first successful effort to become a member of Congress, 1978. He said, I think that one of the great problems we have in the Republican Party is that we don't encourage you to be nasty. We encourage you to be neat, obedient, and loyal, and faithful, and all these Boy Scout words, which would be great around the campfire but are lousy in politics. Don't run around and play games. When one of your elders comes in and says, I don't like what you're doing, tell them tough. One of the great weaknesses, this is a real quote, one of the great weaknesses of the Republican Party is we recruit middle-class people. Middle-class people, as a group, are told you should not shout at the table. You should be nice. You should have respect for other people. When you see somebody doing something dumb, say it. And when you say it in the press, say it loud, fight, scrap, issue a press release, go make a speech. This is a society in which you've got to be willing to be rough and tumble. They learned it from watching you, Dad. All these fucking guys, especially these old guys have been doing this forever. They're like, what happened? You happened. You did this over 50 years. You think Matt Gaetz hatched out of a fucking egg? You sat on that egg. You warmed that egg under your fucking butt for 50 goddamn years waiting for Matt Gaetz to hatch. You built the nest. You got the twigs. You laid the egg. You sat on it with your big, fat, fucking right-wing evil ass. And then you waited, and then it hatched. And you're like, ew, what is this? That's your child. I feel like my passion to analogy quality was off. Senator John Fetterman said of McCarthy's ouster, replacing one dick with a different kind of dick isn't going to change anything in the House. We're one DNA test away from the Jerry Springer show. Which is obviously unfair. The Jerry Springer show would have had Lauren Boebert escorted out by now. Fox News host and guy who probably calls service workers pal when he's mad, Brian Kilmeade got into a heated exchange with Tennessee Republican Tim Burchett.
Oh, come on.
And they're oh, well.
Please, you were praying about it 1 minute. The next minute, you're going to lead an insurgency?
So you don't think that praying about it's important?
How dare you pray for something that hurts Republicans? Prayer doesn't do that. It only stops mass shootings. Yeah, no, I know. That's right. Well, that's what it was supposed to do. It was a tough one. We thought about it. Louisiana Republican Garrett Graves said he supported the decision to take a week before voting on the next speaker.
If we had stayed together in the meeting last night, I think that you would have seen fists thrown, and I'm not being dramatic when I say that. There is a lot of raw emotions right now.
Said Nancy Pelosi in response, "Sorry, Garrett, the doors are locked from the outside, and I'd look around because I've hidden nunchucks everywhere." Is that a roll of quarters and a sock under my seat? Nancy, diabolical. Oklahoma Senator Markwayne Mullins told CNN on Wednesday that Matt Gaetz' fellow Republicans never defended him from the sex trafficking allegations because they had all seen him sharing videos of women he'd slept with on the House floor. Mullins also said this.
He'd brag about how he would crush ED medicine and chase it with an energy drink so he could go all night.
You all saw that pause before energy drinks, right? Also, man, you draw a picture of a guy named Markwayne Mullins, you're drawing a picture of this fucking guy. That is a Markwayne Mullins. That is Markwayne Mullins in the fucking dictionary. It's not even a criticism, it's just that's what a Markwayne Mullins is supposed to look like. It's 100% Markwayne Mullins shape. Anyway, the race is on. Ohio Congressman Jim Jordan, House Majority Leader Steve Scalise have both announced their campaigns to become the next Speaker of the House. Guy who's been known to pal around with white nationalists, or guy who allegedly turned a blind eye to rampant sexual abuse at Ohio State? Somehow, Republicans will have to pick just one. Of course, as Sean Hannity pointed out, there's no rule that says the Speaker of the House has to be a human.
Sources telling me at this hour some House Republicans have been in contact with and have started an effort to draft former President Donald Trump to be the next speaker. And I have been told that President Trump might be open to helping the Republican Party, at least in the short term, if necessary.
Yeah, his source, Donald Trump. But let's hear it from the horse's ass's mouth.
A lot of people have been calling me about Speaker. All I can say is we'll do whatever's best for the country and for the Republican Party.
That's the thing. He's the perfect choice for Speaker because he's so good at speaking. The Pope called out America this week for our irresponsible excess in a speech promoting climate action. He delivered the speech from his golden tax-exempt palace staffed by thousands in his little city where he's king. Yeah, okay. Now let's go get the papists. I don't know what's happening. Our responses have not been adequate, said El Papa, while the world... It's fun to call him El Papa. Our responses have not been adequate, while the world in which we live is collapsing and maybe nearing the breaking point. Hey, here's an idea. Any way your friend could help? Talk to him every day. A model dressed as a giant furball derailed a show at Paris Fashion Week when, unable to see, she got lost on the runway and crashed into the front row. For those listening at home, it is as I described. It was a giant furball bouncing around the runway, almost knocking over literal Sam Smith. Quick question. What is fashion? Do you worry our culture is in a tacky and decadent era at all? Oh no, cried the model. Now I look ridiculous. Thank you. A rogue Airbnb guest has refused to leave or pay rent for the luxury rental in Los Angeles, where she's remained since her stay ended in April of 2022. Oh, man. In other words, she gets free housing and just sits around doing nothing. Who is this, my friggin' wife? It's nothing. It's nothing. I don't know what that is. That's what I was trying to do, said Donald Trump. The guest's lawyer said she wasn't required to pay rent because the city never approved the guest house unit for occupancy and the shower was constructed without a permit. We now go live to an exclusive interview with the guest.
I'm not fucking leaving.
A man in Nebraska is facing charges after accidentally shooting his grandson in the shoulder while officiating a wedding. That is terrible officiating. Usually the risks when you're officiating is like, is this joke a little too off color? Shot his grandson. That's a fuck up. He was attempting to fire a blank into the air to start the wedding off with a bang. But the gun slipped. At least it wasn't a gender reveal, said the officiant. But no one laughed because the boy was screaming. He's okay, the kid's okay. In Philadelphia, a man was denied entry to a Phillies game when he attempted to enter the stadium with his emotional support alligator. Yeah, it's adorable. He brought the alligator on a leash. They didn't let him in. Bullshit. He needs that support monster. Because when you visit Philadelphia, you realize therapy has not reached that city yet. They simply have no concept of it. When you cry in school, your teacher throws a battery at you. The local hospitals have replaced the psych wards with medical sandwich dispensaries, and the nurses also throw batteries at you. And finally, more than 75,000 workers at Kaiser Permanente hospitals and facilities across the country walked off the job Wednesday in the biggest healthcare strike in U.S. history. So it was an especially bad day for a suspicious-looking scab. That's how we're going out? Oh, no. Fall out, fall out, fall out. All right.